Coders to today's session. Today we are going to be making half of this game. It will be the walkthrough for our rock, paper, scissors game, but we're only going to get about halfway through it because we'll continue during the session and over the next couple of weeks finishing off the rock, paper, scissors game. The first thing that I'm going to do is add in my rock, and to get my rock, I can't actually remember where I found rock and paper. If you go into your smiley face emojis and you scroll across, then you can choose some different hands. Your game doesn't have to be rock, paper, scissors, but I make my game rock, paper, scissors just to make it a little bit easier. If I drag my rock over here, first thing I'm going to do is like what I quite often do, going to make a grow ability. Click grow, type in grow, drag it across. And in this grow ability, there's no blocks of code yet, but I'm going to drag in the grow by block, and I'm going to say grow by 200. So all this does for the moment is make my hand, my rock, grow by 200. I'm happy with that. Now next, I'm actually going to assign our players' values to the rock. So what I want to do here is make it when I'm playing the game and I choose the rock, that somehow Hopscotch can record that choice and communicate that choice, tell me what I've chosen, and also save and remember what I've chosen. So the first thing I'm going to do is say when something is tapped, going to choose the rock, and then next, we're actually going to record and use these values with, like last time we used score, this time we're going to say set value, but under iPad's value, I'm going to make a new one and I'm going to call it my choice. And I'm just going to make that all one word in camel case. And we'll talk about that another time. But go my choice. And I'm going to set my choice to 1. Okay. So now whenever I tap the rock, my choice is going to equal 1. That makes nice sense. And then what we're going to actually do next is I'm going to add in two things. The first thing is just going to be a label. I'm going to call that label, I'm going to say you chose. Click done. And I'm going to drag that somewhere around here. And then I'm actually going to choose for the moment a placeholder. I want sort of like some sort of a question mark. I don't know. Yeah, I can go into here actually. This will be the best spot to find a question mark. I'm going to put the red question mark and pop that there. So it's you chose, and then this question mark is actually going to change whenever I choose something. So I'm going to add a new rule here. And that new rule is when the iPad is tapped, so it's whenever I tap the iPad, I'm actually going to set the text, and I'm going to make the text equal, go across to my choice, and for the moment that's just going to show a number. So we're just going to have a play around with this. So if I tap the rock, if we go into the rock, if I tap the rock, what should my choice equal? Let's see, my choice should equal 1, and it does. So it's not going to change back, but I'm happy with that. I know now that when I tap the rock, this question mark receives and understands that I've tapped the rock, and it shows that choice. Now I'm actually going to leave it at that for the moment, and the next thing I'm going to do is add in my paper. So going to, can't remember, smiley face, scroll across and find a hand. You could choose that one, you could choose that one, it doesn't really matter which one, just as long as you choose one of them. I'm going to go with that one, and that's my paper. First thing I'll do, just like before, when the play button is tapped, going to make it grow. And the second thing that I'm going to do is when, and I like doing it this way, when the hand is tapped, I'm going to set value, go into the iPad's value, choose my choice, and this paper is going to be our number 2. So paper is going to be number 2. So now, if I tap rock, it will show number 1. If I tap paper, it should show number 2, and it does. Rock 1, paper 2. Okay, so I've got it working in some sort of way, and I'm pretty happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is add in my scissors, and we're going to just do the exact same thing. So there's quite a bit of repetition in this. Choose our scissors, drag them across, and luckily we don't have to do too much repetition because we've got this grow ability. So just do that really quickly. And then I've also got when wrong character, make sure it's scissors. When scissors is tapped, values, and I'm going to set the value. So this just makes the value my choice. It's going to be our third choice. So I'm going to say number 3. So if I click scissors, it will show 3. If I click paper, it will show 2. If I click rock, it will show 1. But it's being a little bit glitchy. It's not showing them completely perfectly. What I actually want to do is, rather than make it that when the iPad is tapped, I actually want it to do when the play button is tapped, and I want it to show the choice forever. So I want it to always show what my choice is. And if I press 1, 2, 3, so it's always showing my choice. It's happening much quicker. So I've just fixed that up a little bit. But I don't want it to say my choice. I want it to show either the rock, the paper, or the scissors. I want it to actually show the symbols. So we're going to have to work our way around that a little bit. And the way that we're going to do that is with the check once if. And this is a new block. We haven't used this before, so it might be a little bit tricky. But when we choose check once if, it gives us 4 different options: equals, not equals, smaller than, and bigger than. And I'm going to choose equals, go into values, and I'm going to say check once if my choice equals 1. And if it does, I want you to set my text, and we're going to actually go and delete that my choice. I don't want that. I want to set the text. Then I click on the keyboard, and I'm going to say set text to what was number 1. Number 1 was rock. So I'm going to say set text my choice to 1. So let's press play on this. If I press the paper, nothing happens. If I press the scissors, nothing happens. If I press the rock, it should show that my choice was the rock. And it does. And that's exactly what I want. So I know that this is working. So let's go check once if. I'm going to say equals again. Going to say my choice again. But this time I'm checking if it equals 2. And if it does equal 2, what do I want it to show? I want to say set text to keyboard, sorry. I'm going to say set text to, and number 2 choice was paper. Okay, and finally my last choice is going to be my choice equals 3, and under in here we're going to set text, make it nice and easy, click the keyboard, delete that, and I'm going to say where's scissors, press play. So now the iPad should show my choices. Okay, and all that I've done there is within this one arrow, I've made it show whatever choice we've had, and then whenever I've clicked any of these, it's set the value to 1, to 2, and to 3. Okay, so that's a really good start. We've got our options. We can choose our options, and it shows, the iPad clearly shows us what our options are. Now, the next thing that you are going to do is actually get your iPad to make a choice, because playing this game just by yourself without any other things is going to get a little bit boring. So the first thing that we're going to do is get our iPad to make a choice. So in here, I'm going to do again just an iPad. Just for the moment, the placeholder that I'm going to add, I'm just going to call it iPad and leave it there. Underneath that, I'm going to say different question mark, just the plain text one. Pop that there. And then in here, I'm going to make this rule. And this rule is going to be when the iPad is tapped, so that's whenever the iPad is tapped, I'm going to actually get the iPad to wait just 100 milliseconds, so it's going to be waiting really, really quickly. And then it's going to be setting the value. And this time we're going to go into iPad's values, but we're going to make a new value. We're going to say iPad choice. Done. Click that out. And I'm going to say click tick. And then for this 0, I actually don't want the iPad to always just pick 1 or 2 or 3. I want to automate it. So I'm going to put in 1, random, and pick a random number between 1 and 3. So we're not actually going to see anything yet, but what's happening is the iPad's picking a random number between 1 and 3. Now in the next bit, what I'm going to do under here is make an ability, and I'm going to call this ability don't want the capitals, iPad choice. Okay, I'm going to drag that ability out, and inside that ability, I'm going to program the iPad to show its choice. So it's very, 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 very similar to what we did before. First of all, I'm going to say check once if something equals, and this time around we're going to be saying iPad choice. If iPad choice equals 1, what do I want the text to show? I want the text to show a rock. So back into here again, and you can see that we're doing quite a bit of repetition, but we're going to only have to do this a couple more times, and then we're actually just going to be able to reuse a lot of this code because we've been creating these abilities as we've been going along. So this will be iPad choice number 2. What's my choice number 2? It's going to be paper. So I'm setting the text, going to the keyboard, delete that, and I'm going to set the text, wrong one, to paper. And for my final one, I'm going to set the iPad's choice to number 3. So we got 1, 2, and 3. And the text in this one is going to be the scissors. Okay, that's scissors. Awesome. So now, whenever I tap, my iPad should also choose a, and it seems to be working. So that is the beginning of our game. I make a choice and my iPad makes a choice, and then both of my choice and the iPad's choice are both shown on the screen. Now next what we're going to do is actually make the iPad display who has won the game. So we're going to have the iPad display that somewhere. But for the moment, this is all I expect you to be up to. So what we've done is we added in our characters to be tapped, and if I choose this one, it sets the value to 1, this one, paper, to 2, and scissors to 3. And then in here, the program actually shows what I have chosen. Now, because we want the iPad to choose things, we have in this question mark, we've made the iPad choose. First of all, I've made it wait, and then it's chosen a random number. And then based on that random number, we've assigned the iPad's choice 1 to show rock, iPad's choice 2 to show paper, and iPad's choice 3 to show scissors. And that's what happens. So the iPad thinks, it chooses a random number, and then based on that number, we show either rock, papers, or scissors. So next what you're going to do is add in some sort of a scoring system and some sort of a decision-making system for who has won in this game to make it a little bit more interesting. So best of luck with that. This has been walkthrough number 1 for our rock, paper, scissors game. We'll be finishing this off over the next couple of weeks as well. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm Jack Lukey, and you've been watching Learn to Code.